All right, call our Tuesday, May 13 council meeting to order. If you would, please join us, rise and join us for a prayer and the pledge. Sorry.
Please bow your heads with me. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and the many blessings you've given us. Lord, we thank you for this beautiful community that we're each so blessed to serve. And Lord, we thank you tonight for these city council members and the community members that are present, for the volunteer time that goes into the passion and love for our community. Lord, we just ask that you be in this meeting tonight, that you give the council the wisdom and the discernment that you would have them have to make the decisions that come before them. Lord, we just ask that you be with each person present tonight, help them to have safe travels home, and lead us and guide us and forgive us where we fail you. We say all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Carrie. Roll call, please.
Mayor Kennedy.
Here.
Chairman Pro Tem Rose.
Here.
Councilwoman Oppenheimer. Here. Councilwoman Pettit. Here. And Councilman Briggs.
Here. Thank you. All right, we'll kick off public comment. A citizen desiring to speak on an item not on the agenda may do so at this time. Each citizen is limited to 3 minutes, and the council will not take action or discuss items at this time. Discussion should be limited to matters of city business, and public comment is not permitted in regard to personnel matters or on pending legal matters. Items introduced under public comment may become agenda items at a later date. First on the list, Patty Cottrell.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
Thank you for this moment. With the last storm we all endured, it became evident that better communication of procedures during these storms or adverse conditions is needed. The tornado siren sounded to tell us to go to our safe place or stand outside and watch it. I was unaware that we were under a water boil order until I ran into Josh at the store. You didn't bruise too badly, did you?
No.
Okay, good. My neighbors didn't know about it either until I texted them. Of course, with electricity out, is it possible then that the police could travel through the city and announce that on their PA system? Maybe, but what if they're tied up in emergencies, which is a lot more important? My area had electricity on Wednesday night, so I started looking to see if the boil order had been lifted. The only one I found any information on was the one that took place back in February, which I never heard that one either. On Friday, I found an article that stated the order had been lifted Wednesday morning. So the best thing to do is do something before these events happen. Perhaps send out something in the order of, in the event of, type of information that shows to each household that lists disasters and what to do before, during, and after. This could be a joint effort with some of this with City and Liberty Utilities, although I'm still waiting to hear back from them with my question. But either way, we need to be better informed. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty. Next on the list, Ed, and you'll have to help me on your pronunciation. I've never.
Witty.
Okay, I was right. I just want to make sure before I butchered it. Come on up.
As you know who I am, Ed Woody. Just to kind of answer her question there, I agree with what she has to say there. I contacted Liberty Utility myself immediately after the storm because we had no water whatsoever. And I know myself that when you have a low water pressure or it goes to nothing and stays that way for hours or days without water flow, you get contaminants that can happen. So I called Liberty. It was an effort for me to call to get information, and I found out that there was a water boil order, but it's just as much their responsibility to put it out in the public through news, like that. I did post it immediately on a site that I run called Aurora Town Hall. So it was on there, but other than that. My reason for being here is a road public safety issue that I would like to see you guys review and go and study this, because I feel like you guys have more power than I do as a citizen, because I think you have to go to the state on this. And my issue is the intersection of Church Street and Elliott right there. This has been going on for years, and it's been kind of on my mind, bugging me, and I finally just decided I'm going to act on it. Multiple times, it's usually more in the evenings than it is during the daytime. It's usually evenings and late at night, 1 in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, all through there. We have, and I know that you've seen it yourself, and you and me have never talked about this. We have high-speed situations with Highway Patrol, County Sheriff, and Aurora Police. The Aurora Police is the least of the bunch driving at the high speeds, because most time they're leaving the station and they don't have enough time to build up a speed, and they are trying to get to a situation. So they are probably the least of the worry. It's mostly county and state, and you'll think I'm exaggerating when I tell you this, but I feel like some of the speeds that's went through that intersection at times is up around 100 miles an hour. It's for sure at least 75 or 80, and I'm judging this on, I've got several years experience in racing. I've been to every kind of racing, NHRA Nationals, NASCAR, the Bonneville Salt Flats, and when a car hits about 75 miles an hour, it makes a sound that sounds like a jet flying, and it starts at about 70, 75 miles an hour. And some of these are severe. The ones that I will give the most credit that are the most cautious is the ambulance services. They are very cautious when they go through there. So my thought is, I would like to see an eminent domain be put through on the shop on the corner. There's a smoke shop. If that was gone, it would open up visibility of that corner intersection for everybody, because somebody coming from the east going westbound, they're not going to stand a chance. And I don't think, unless maybe you could tell me, do we have stoplight systems that you guys are able to change from green to red all of a sudden like they do in some of the cities?
It's set up that way, but
Mhm.
MoDOT no longer wants us doing it. They want to be the ones to pop the control panel. But used to, we had keys that we could open that up and flip it to four-way flashing. But MoDOT wants to be in control of that.
Okay, but some of your larger cities, they have, I might not be using the right technology, but they have like a remote in the car. As they get to the intersection, they're able to change it to whatever.
Some city streets and things that may be accurate, but we don't have anything with the Church and Elliott being two state highways. We don't have any control over it.
Okay. So my thought is, if you guys could check it out and do a study on it yourself, and then maybe approach the state, and if nothing else, have a safety meeting with the county and the state highway patrol, because you can test what I'm telling you. You can go up there and just hang out, and you'll see it for yourself. And Doug here lives right on Elliott, almost across the street from you. He has seen it multiple times. Is that right, Doug? Yeah. And I've seen it multiple times. At one time, I had some videos of it a few years ago, but since then I've, got rid of them. But I could come up with new videos if you wanted me to, but I would like to see you guys do a study and maybe go for an eminent domain on that building. And I hate eminent domain. I don't like seeing vintage buildings torn down in a town of any kind. But this particular matter, a westbound traffic is not going to stand a chance, at a high speed situation going through there. And I would like to see you guys kind of look at it yourself and see what I'm talking about.
Right.
If you would. And then I got one quick last one.
We'll be mindful of time.
This right here.
Yep.
I talked to Carrie. By the way, I talked to you the other day. Did you put in an order on my driveway?
We had a conversation with the contractor for follow-up.
Okay, well, they immediately did it, so thank you so much for acting on that.
Sure.
With the construction they're doing in the alleys with all the digging and everything, they've got these flags everywhere, and their cleanup is not really super good. They still have these all over up and down the alleys, these right here. I got a flat in the tire of my truck, and Doug has got flats in his riding lawnmower, because what you guys may not be aware of, and it doesn't really matter, is me and Doug, we maintain that alley. We have for years. I've put gravel down and fixed potholes for years, and I've weed-eated the fence lines and chopped bushes, and Doug always mows it. So we've done a lot of maintenance through the years, but I just want to express that I think you guys need to maybe be on these contractors a little bit more about better cleanup, and the work that they've done in the alleys. They come in there, put just a little bit of gravel down in a couple spots, but there still are low places and imperfections that were not there before. So I don't know if they're gonna come back and do one final super job, or is this what we get? So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good. And the last one, is this Doug? Are you on the list? I can't quite make out the name.
James McCullough, he told me I had to sign if I had to talk.
Oh, I thought you said your name was Doug. I'm sorry.
I just needed him for witness to back.
Gotcha. So you're not gonna speak. Okay, all right. Thank you very much, guys. All right, moving on to council forum, pro tem.
Yeah, so not a whole lot to report. Just wanted to thank Councilmember Pettit for organizing the trash stuff and getting that ball rolling, and of course the Doties for stepping up, and Carrie getting that all organized. That was fantastic. So took advantage of it myself, and had a lot of very thankful people that stopped by to throw away things lost in the freezer. So awesome job, and thank you.
Somebody jump in.
Nothing to report. So just I want to thank all the employees and everything for stepping up day of that event. That was a very chaotic morning, and everybody stepped into their roles and knew what to do, and started doing it. So good job on everybody for that. So
I did too help out with the spoiled food event. We all did city manager reviews, so don't forget that. And then I have chambermaid put this weekend.
That's right. As Jason mentioned about the food waste, that was coordinated because of my participation on the solid waste board from Southwest Missouri. I have a passion for recycling. And so we did not have a meeting today, but we are having, and it's in the back of the room, handouts. We are having a recycling event in Aurora, and e-waste, so like computers, cell phones, things like that, TVs. This is just for residential. This is for the whole county of Lawrence County. And it's from a grant from Missouri Department of Natural Resources. And we'll accept your things until our truck is full. So get there early. And also at the same time, the First Independent Bank will be doing their annual Shred and Fed program, where you can bring 3 boxes of papers, and they'll shred it for you. And for each box, they want you to bring a non-perishable food item, and that will be given to the doggy backpack program. Let's see. Also, too, want to thank Doties for their help, not only just with the food waste, but also continuing with the trees, providing dumpsters for that. I attended P&Z last week, did the city manager interviewing, also attended Missouri State's final presentation of what they think we should be doing for the downtown. So other than that, that's it.
All right, thank you. I also attended the city manager interviews, and congratulations, Carrie, so new city manager for the city of Aurora. We also did Legion Field Cleanup Day. I think there was around 16, 18 people there. I'm not really sure what the number was, but quite a few showed up. Church showed up. Worked on Legion Field a little bit. Attended the Downtown Project MSU Downtown Revitalization presentation. And then yesterday I had the honor of attending Harriet Daniels' 104th birthday party, where we presented the proclamation that's been in record. And of course, thank you to everybody that jumped on the storm. That Tuesday morning was actually pretty nice until it wasn't, and then your next 2 to 3 weeks get rescheduled, and then everybody will get back into normal, hopefully pretty soon. So thanks everyone. On to item 6, consent agenda. Items listed, or sorry, I'm gonna read that. Approval of minutes for City Council regular session minutes of April 22, 2025, and April and May 2025 appropriations.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion and second, please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you. All right, 7.1 on old business, Bright Futures Liaison appointment discussion. So I think this was brought up by Mr. Lewis about potentially
Yeah,
pulling out of that a little bit and maybe refocusing that position. Did you?
correct. Yep, so I just know that they are rebranding themselves, and I think it would make sense for us to go one level up and have a liaison with the school board. If there's a need from whatever the Bright Futures group is, they could relay that to the school board or the school, and then we could work with them on whatever that would be. And I think it would maybe make sense to have someone at that level versus not.
I kind of spent some time on Bright Futures early, and I would agree at that time. I think Councilman Blades had the most recent experience. Does that sound aligned with what you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean, it's, they've got some things in the work there, as far as, I can't think what they're gonna rename it on there. But yeah, it's gonna be working more hand in hand with the school district. So if we have that liaison just to the school district itself, then yeah, I think they could communicate the needs with, what they needed, so.
Anybody have any additional questions? If council's okay with it, I can reach out to Dr. Yocum and work out whether that's something that we can support, and then we'll add it to the next meeting agenda. Work for you as well?
Yep.
Yeah, we can prepare a resolution, bring it back at your next meeting. Would you have any indication at this point who you think might be your liaison?
Let's do it at that. And when we do that, let's add an item right after too. And I will wait to talk to him after the resolution's approved, so. All right, thanks, everyone. On to new business, 8.1, National Police Week Proclamation. Get to do some reading here. All right. In 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day and the calendar week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas, the members of the law enforcement agency of the City of Aurora play an important role in ensuring that the citizens and visitors to the Aurora community can live, visit, and conduct business in a safe and functional community. And whereas, members of our police department take their duty as a solemn oath to serve the people of this community by safeguarding life and property, protecting them against violence or disorder, protecting the innocent against deception, and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas, our police department strives to be a model of professionalism, unmatched in character and integrity, and the model of impartial application of the law without regard to color, creed, race, religion, nationality, or ethnicity. And whereas, we acknowledge a debt of gratitude to the brave officers and deputies who have paid the ultimate price to protect the community they serve. Now therefore, I, Tony Kennedy, Mayor of the City of Aurora, do recognize the week of May 11th through the 17th, 2025 as National Police Week, recognize May 15th, 2025 as National Peace Officers Memorial Day, and further extend appreciation to our Police Chief Wes Coatney and the members of the Aurora Police Department and all other law enforcement officers in Lawrence County for the invaluable service they provide and their exemplary dedication to the community they serve. If I could get you all to come all the way up here. Photographers will have to tell us what's centered, so.
Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. flat tire or something over here. I don't know what's going on. All right, moving on to 8.2, Head Start Day Proclamation. A little more reading. The Head Start program was established in 1965 as part of President Lyndon B. Johnson's War on Poverty with the mission of promoting school readiness for children from low-income families by providing comprehensive early childhood education, health, nutrition, and parent involvement services. And whereas for 60 years, Head Start has been a cornerstone in communities across the nation, fostering the development and success of millions of children and families through high-quality early learning experiences. And whereas the dedicated educators, staff, and volunteers of Head Start programs work tirelessly to ensure that children enter school prepared to succeed, helping to break the cycle of poverty and to build brighter futures. And whereas the Head Start program in the city of Aurora has been instrumental in providing critical early childhood services to local families, strengthening our community, and shaping the next generation of leaders. And whereas on this milestone 60th anniversary, we recognize and celebrate the profound impact of Head Start and reaffirm our commitment to supporting early childhood education and family well-being. Now therefore, I, Tony Kennedy, Mayor of City of Aurora, by virtue of the authority vested in me, do hereby proclaim May 18th, 2025 as Head Start Day.
Come on down.
Thank you so much.
All right, 8.3, resolution number 2025-2041 for the 2025 asphalt bid, Blevins Asphalt.
Well, good evening, council. It's
Good
that
evening.
that time of year again. It seems like it gets here sooner and sooner every year, the older I get. But anyway, it's pretty standard on the bid as usual. Blevins came in as low bid. I did shorten the deadline by a month. After talking with Carrie, we decided to make them kind of toe the line a little more. So I want to have some room there. So we're going to be finished a month sooner.
Good.
We're going to finish the South Street that we didn't do last year because the utility companies weren't done. So we scratched that off the list so they could get in and finish their stuff. We're putting it back on the list, and then we're going to do Wolf Road, that one block from Church Street there in where it dead ends. It's been needing it for years and years. It's horrible. So I've been working with one of the supervisors at Tyson's so we can coordinate when we can tear it out. We're going to completely tear it out and redo it. So he's willing to work with us on getting trucks in and out and stuff like that since it's a one-way in, one-way out. And then the section there, Carnation on the end, I know a couple of years ago, past management wanted to chip and seal that, and it did hold it together, but it is still, I get weekly complaints because it is very, very rough right there. So we thought that'd be a good section to start on and get that, going to our school since we did Prospect last year, kind of start tying into that and finish it up. So,
Question for you.
Yes.
If I may. So chip and seal was supposed to last us how long? I feel like that was like supposed to be more than 2 years.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and it does if the road's in decent shape. That was a road that was kind of out of my control. That's how I'll say that.
Okay.
I was told that's
Too
what
far
we-
gone?
No.
Is that what I'm hearing? Like to do chip and seal or?
Yeah, it needed to be repaved. That was my suggestion, and my suggestion was told we're going to chip and seal it.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did. And it did hold it together from breaking, coming up in pieces, but the integrity of the road is still bad. It's still shot. If you drive down there in that section, you can feel it in your tires. It's got divots in it. Those won't ever come out unless we take that out of it. So that's why I want to go ahead and redo it now. Like I said, I get weekly calls on Carnation about that section being bad right there. So
Are we chip sealing anything that maybe is this year or not at all?
not this year, no. And that's another thing. We're, with the budget where it was, Carrie and I met multiple times, and we're really trying to toe the line. But as you guys know, everything's going up, and it just seems like I do less and less because of the amount of money. So it's something we're gonna have to look at in the future. And I do believe chip and seal is great in certain areas and for certain roads, but like I said, I'm trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I was overruled on that one, so. But it does need redone.
I do have a question, because I know when we voted on that, on the chip and seal, that we elected to save $7,000 or something like that, not to do the oil over that. Would that have made a difference?
No, all that pretty much does is keep the dust down.
Okay,
It kind of seals the top of it, and so that you don't have to go through the whole process of traffic wearing that off, that top, because unless you're gonna use haydite or Rocky Mountain rock, that's really hard. If you use a limestone, it's gonna be dusty. So that
Okay.
was the purpose there. But
okay.
I do think there's a place for it in a time, but
Have
Understood.
the utilities companies all, I know we talked in the past about them replacing lines ahead of time of
Yeah.
us paving. What's the status with those locations?
they're still on board for that. So as of right now, in fact, Tyson's redone a sewer line that they had that came up through there that was private. So they've already got that replaced. I've talked with Lance. He's good on the manholes, and then we're just kind of, Liberty wanted to wait till we approved it all, but they're aware of where we're going and still willing to work with us to get them done if there's anything they need to do. So not a lot of streets, but they're pretty big sections, you know what I mean, and pretty significant too as well.
And outside of the utility issues from last year, did we get everything closed up that they were committed to, other than where we called them off for utilities?
Yes, on the
Okay.
paving, yeah,
Okay.
yes, yeah, and they were done a little quicker too. And of course, we'll do the cemetery. This should be our
Last
pretty
one.
much final year until we have to start cutting new roads,
Okay,
you know, for new plots. But this will be the very closest section to Elliott, which has been the worst, but it's already prepped. We prepped it early and it's looking good, so hopefully we'll finish it this year.
Maybe a stupid question, but, SAP is cheaper on the cemetery than Blevins.
Mhm.
Would you ever wanna save that money and have them do the cemetery?
Split, not for the much that I save on the other. The reason they charge more Blevins is because it's short pulls, a lot of starting and stopping, and they have to bring in a specific paver because those are only 10-foot wide streets. So when they bring the big paver, then they've got to set it up to ship it back, get a small paver, and then get the trucks. It's a lot harder. That's why the amount is more. SAP they stayed the same, high on the street side and same price on the street as it is the cemetery. That's the difference. But when you look at it, I think they've done a great job in the cemetery this last couple of years. So that would be my preference, is just because they bring that small paver in. That's helped.
Council, I would add to that we did not have a SAP representative at the bid opening,
No.
but I did ask Jason and Blevins both about that specifically, and we have not confirmed whether SAP would hold that bid differential if they didn't get the full package. So that would be something we need to
Good
check
point
on if
as
you
well.
wanted to consider that.
Blevins is the only company that even contacted me this year, even before the bid opening. Usually they'll contact me. They're the only ones that did this year.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, and then on the topic of the Carnation Ware, I think we still have one business with a semi that runs a pretty regular route down Carnation and probably needs a informational update. So I can get with you after that, maybe
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, it has helped, I think, since the state put the
Yeah.
signs out. It's definitely helped, but
I'll make a motion that we accept resolution.
thank you, council.
I'm sorry, sir, 2025-2041 for the asphalt bid. Blevins asphalt.
second,
All right, have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you. 8.4, resolution number 2025-2042, Park Board appointment, Nikki Kennedy. So this is a renewal of a current sitting member for the next term.
I just want to say thank you for your time. Appreciate all you do on the park board. I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2025-2042.
Second.
I will abstain. Motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you. 8.5, resolution number 2025-2043, special request Doyle Brigman.
Good evening, council. In case you all don't know, my name is Aaron Gates. I am the new Community Development Director for the city. On May 6th, at our planning and zoning committee, I brought forth for Doyle Brigman that he is wanting to do an extra addition onto his garage. We are at, the address is 301 East Crescent Street. According to City Code, Section 400.280A.3 states that no accessory building in excess of 900 square feet in size shall be constructed in residential districts without the approval of planning and zoning. The second part to that is City Code Section 500.050A states that all accessory buildings proposed to be constructed in residential districts in excess of 900 square feet of floor space shall first be reviewed by Planning and Zoning Commission, in which they done on May 6th. Applicants request approval to expand an existing accessory building of 900 square feet. He's going to be adding on 576 square feet, which gives a total of 1,476 square feet. The additional lot size that he's got this building on or wanting to add on to is 22,500 square feet. So there's ample availability for space for him to add on to it. Public hearing notices were sent out, and we had no responses on that. I did add when I presented this to the Planning and Zoning Commission that the purpose and reason for Doyle to add on to his existing shop is he's a car guy, and they're sitting outside, and he does restoration work for himself. It's all personal, and he's got them with car covers right now. So adding on the additional room will give him the ability, because he's putting a lift on the inside where he can drive them into and stack them in there, and then as he works on them and redoes them, because he's in his 80s and he's wanting to do a car show at some point. So that was the purpose and reason for us to bring it to planning and zoning.
He's in the right town for car shows.
Right?
Any questions, council?
No?
As I understand it, I think he had a pretty sizable lot as well, I think, too. So
Yes,
it's not
yeah.
abutting any property or anything?
No.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-2043, the special request from Doyle Brigman.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you, council. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Good job.
8.6, special event application, Engage Church Picnic.
Council, this request, first of all, Aaron's going to take these over at the next meeting, but he had never been involved with presenting a special event application. So I told him I would do this one this evening so that he can kind of take note, and then from this point forward, he'll be taking them over. But this request comes from Engage Church. This is for their annual church picnic. They like to hold it at Crosby Park on May 18th, and their hours of the event would be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're not requesting any city services or having any special items present. We talked about this as a management team meeting this morning, and there's no issues or concerns from staff, so our recommendation is approval.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we approve special event application Engage Church Picnic.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Motion passed.
Thank you. All right, staff reports, city manager report.
Council, I'm going to apologize ahead of time and tell you I'm going to be just a little bit long-winded tonight on my management report, but I want to make sure that we touch base on a little bit of storm response information departmentally for several reasons, just so you kind of know where we're at, because we haven't had a meeting since that storm took place, and also just to kind of say some thank yous to some different people and entities, and specifically our team. I talk all the time about the teamwork amongst these departments, and they continue to amaze me at how well they just rally together and just kind of step across to help each other however needed. So to touch base kind of departmentally, first of all, I just want to say that Chief Hurd has been managing compilation of all the storm-related damage and city response, including expenditures. And this has been compiled and submitted to the Lawrence County Emergency Management Department. So this was at their request. Typically, when we have any kind of natural disaster event, whether it be flooding or storm or something, they do ask us to keep track of those things. They've indicated with our initial submission to them just after our first 4 days of response and cleanup that our numbers are going to help the county get over that threshold to request a disaster declaration. So with that being the case, we're still awaiting that determination. We're not sure yet, but we're still keeping track of all of our manpower and expenditures and those kind of things so that we can continue to submit that in hopes that we get a little bit of recovery help from that in the near future. So Chief Hurd has been fantastic in keeping all of that together and reporting it. We found out from the county that we needed to give them information and a full report by noon on, I believe it was Thursday or Friday of last week, and we got that information about 10:45. And so Jesse and I got on the phone and started contacting department heads for specific information. I had already asked the management team in a group text to start keeping track of that. They all had their stuff together, and we were 3 minutes late with our submission to the county. So that was really exciting that we were able to pull that together so quickly. So specific to the street department, that's probably our biggest affected department at this point in time, and in terms of long-term recovery and cleanup. Jason wanted me to make sure that we give a special shout out and thank you to Doty Trash. They have provided roll-off boxes for transport of the larger tree pieces to go for quicker transport to our wastewater facility for both storage and burning to take care of that. So we appreciate them doing that. It's made a big difference. The street department also has shared part of their crew over the course of 3 different days last week with the cemetery. It was literally a maze. So when I went out initially right after the storm doing assessments, I knew that Brad had the most damage, city facility-wise. And Aaron and I literally got stuck in the cemetery because it was a maze where the trees were over the streets and things within the cemetery. So the street department going and helping Brad and Jay get that all cleaned up as quickly as they did was instrumental in getting that a little more back toward normal. And we'll touch on that a little bit in the cemetery department here as well. So that storm cleanup in the cemetery is also ongoing. We had 26 trees within Maple Park that were completely lost in the storm and 27 others that had damage to their tops. Of those 27 with damage, Brad thinks that approximately 15 of those will still require removal. They've had to purchase some black dirt to fill in holes from lost trees. And Brad and I have already started a conversation about maybe a program or event where someone could donate the cost of a tree in memory of someone that they have in the cemetery. We would want Brad to coordinate that, make sure we order the trees so that we get hard maple trees and exactly what he wants to have in there to go back. But we'd like to see maybe some community involvement and give people an opportunity to honor their loved ones by being a part of putting trees back. So we're talking about a program like that. Just wanted to let you know that we're discussing that, and that may be something that comes before you for approval in the near future. Clearly, we've got a lot of stump grinding that needs to take place within the cemetery from that before we can do any kind of replacement with trees. We had a company that actually, Brad's been getting some bids on that. We had a company that was substantially cheaper than others, and they're starting on that today. He thinks he'll have the cleanup done before Memorial Day. So we're really excited about that, and he was able to piece that together quickly to try to get it back to normal out there as best he can. 35 headstones were affected. Cemetery staff has been able to reset, sorry I typoed there, all but 4. And of those, so those 4 that he's been unable to reset himself, he's working with a monument company to have them come in and help us get those placed back as they should be as well. And then we had damage to the equipment storage building. Not the building that we've been discussing replacement of, but the other one. But it does look like maybe in the end we had a little bit of damage to both. So that insurance claim has been filed, and the adjuster should be here yet this week to inspect that and begin the claim process there. So we'll be working through that. We did have to move lawnmowers and some of his equipment like that out to the street department facility. They had some extra space that we could use. That way Brad's equipment is secured and isn't stolen or able to be tampered with and is protected from weather as we work through that process. So can't say enough about Brad and his team, and then again the street department for jumping in to help him. Parks Department, storm cleanup is ongoing. We did have some damage to a fence that a tree fell on out there at the dog park. There'd been some conversation about that, I think, and across the community. They're repairing that fence. They were working on it today and waiting for some other parts, and then the dog park should be back open later this week. I'm skipping a little bit just to stay with storm related, and then I'll kind of come back. The rec center, the power outage affected pressure within the fire suppression system at the recreation center, and we actually ended up having 5 relays within the control unit of that system that are going to require replacement due to failure during the power outage. So no other damage. We were a little bit sketchy for a little bit if any water got to anything, because that actually had water all over the mechanical room. but nothing else electrical was affected. So that was a good outcome, but I'd like to see us look at ways to make sure that that doesn't happen in the future in the case of a power outage. So wastewater, batteries had to be replaced in one generator that didn't immediately come up during the power outage from the storm. Lance wanted me to specifically let you know that Bumper to Bumper and Ruche Machinery were both incredibly helpful at helping him find a specific battery that we couldn't get close to here, to the point that they said, just take it off the shelf, see if it works, and we'll bill you when we all have power. There were some other places he contacted that weren't that helpful. So just want to say thank you to those two companies that helped him with that, and that battery did get that generator back up within just a couple hours. Lance called me immediately and had a Plan B type situation going on. We don't have a generator to power our lift stations, and he knew they were going to quickly start filling up. It's not really anything we'd had to address in recent years, but Hill House Services came in and pumped for 2 days in order to keep our lift stations in good shape and to keep from having any overflow. That was a big win for us. We could have had some messes. So that was really good that they were on standby for us, and then we ended up utilizing them quickly. MFA delivered fuel to our large tanks, so we were unable to have some fuel purchases that we needed. We ended up, street department ended up fueling out of the wastewater big tanks because we had an issue with a street department tank down there. So we ended up kind of everybody collaborating and using from Lance, and MFA was coming as late as 7 and 9 o'clock in the evening to refill those tanks so our guys could keep the community services going. So really glad that Lance was willing to share with everyone, and the MFA kept us going there. Jessica and I were sitting in a payroll week and not sure what to do about City Hall. We don't have a generator here either. Lance had an extra generator at the wastewater plant, brought it up here. Jesse had the idea to power the server and one computer, and we got payroll and an ARPA report completed in plenty of time. So our staff got paid because of that generator. So there again, teamwork, making the dream work. A little bit separate from our local damage, we have a billboard on I-44, and that has historically been there with a picture of Maple Park Cemetery, and then we share the cost of that with Mercy Hospital, and they have their logo on it. That billboard was demolished in the storm. The billboard company reached out to me, indicated that it'll be completely replaced, and we have an opportunity to redesign it at no cost because it was storm damage. So we are looking through some images and looking at maybe switching that to a picture of the recreation center to kind of let everyone know that we have a recreation center in Aurora now. And we're looking at some different images that go along with that. If you have any thoughts about what you'd like to see that picture be, let me know. But for now, we are working for maybe displaying the rec center a little bit there. And then I've told the department heads I'd like to start working with them on a list of needed emergency preparedness items. So we've talked about that we didn't have a generator for City Hall, things like that. It's kind of an insurance type thought process, but those things that if we had a generator on a trailer that could be taken from lift station to lift station and they all have the same plug is an idea that Lance and Aaron had discussed. We wouldn't have necessarily needed to call an outside entity to do that pumping for us. We could have gone and handled that ourselves. I'd like to see us have some of those conversations about, how can we get some funding to be a little more prepared, or how can we budget for such? So we're starting those conversations as a closeout to this event that we're still working through as well.
Hey, Carrie, so along the lines of, I know we talked about moving some of you all to have the laptops and some of that. So I think along those lines, just a thought, whatever we need to do for our servers to move those to maybe a cloud base where you guys could have access to that stuff, whether it's here or not, would solve maybe that problem and eliminate the need of a generator. Maybe there's a fire, right?
Sure.
Or a flood of the roof or something. And so that would maybe tie into what we've kind of already talked about.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Absolutely. I'll make a note of that and we'll check into that as we work through it. That's the majority of the storm-related damage, as we discussed at the management team meeting this morning. Again, our staff has done an incredible job partnering and doing the best they can to respond to all of this stuff. Street Department has the veteran banners hung downtown. You've probably seen, I think they've got 3 that are stragglers. They've still got to get up, but those have been hung, and that veteran ceremony will be this Friday evening at 6 o'clock out here on the City Hall lawn. In conjunction with the art walk and the first night of the downtown farmers market. Back to parks just a little bit. You'd already mentioned the Legion Field Community Cleanup Day. Travis wanted me to mention that they did have about 20 people in attendance, and some great work was done that day. The pool is full and onboarding final employees to be fully staffed. We should be done with that by the end of the week. Opening day of the pool is scheduled for Saturday, May 24th, and we're going to be starting to get that out there on social media and the city Facebook page here in the next couple of days. The rec center, we have received proposals for several group fitness programs now. That's something we've been talking about, wanting to get things going there. And we have things such as a personal trainer, pickleball instructor, spin bikes, hip hop dance lessons, Zumba classes, and a fitness boot camp. So we are getting a diversified response on those kind of things, and Anthony and I are working through those now.
And your membership's up.
Membership is up over 50 units since the last time that I stood in front of you guys, which I've been gone a couple of meetings, but it is up quite a bit, and our customer profiles are up a lot. So that continues to increase on a daily basis, and we seem to be having fantastic feedback.
Good.
The Missouri Public Service Commission has reached out to Anthony for rental of the rec center community space for 2 town halls, one in June and one in July. This is related to conversations regarding a local utility company, or utility provider. I have a little bit of concern about the number of people that may attend those, so we are having some conversations about maybe helping them to secure a bigger place within the community, such as one of the schools or something. I'm just not sure that we can hold the number of people that they anticipate, but we are working through that. So it may be at the rec center, but we may be working with the district to see if maybe we can get a larger place for them. But they have contacted us, and those town halls are being scheduled. Wastewater. Post Electric started the installation of the new lighting today, the area lighting at the facility, and the SRF project is still in progress, about 10% complete. And the BSNA software discovery process has begun. So Jessie has started those meetings, and she's got those scheduled through the rest of the week and next week, going through each department individually. Sorry, I know that was long-winded, but those are the key items I wanted to highlight. Of course, everything else there is there for your review. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you, Carrie. Any questions, Council?
You do a great job.
Thank you.
All right. With that, I will make a motion to move into closed session pursuant to RSMO 610.021 for items 1, 3, and 13.
Second?
A motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Kennedy,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Lewis,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oppinger.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pettit,
Yes.
and Councilman Briggs.
Yeah.
Okay, you are in closed session.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming.